What's up, Go Nation? I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be reacting to the Cosmic Wonder Loki Season 2 official trailer breakdown. Prime Kang explained. This video is going to be a wild one. It's a little long video, but hey, I've never actually reacted to a trailer breakdown on a channel from Cosmic before, so this is kind of the first time ever. But honestly, this video is going to be long, so I'm going to get straight into it. But before we do that, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We're on the road to 200 subs. See what Cosmic talking about. Woof woof. What?
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm Warren Thompson, and we just got the first full official trailer for Loki Season 2, and it looks fantastic. Go ahead and let us know your thoughts about this trailer in the comments down below right away. There's a lot to break down in this trailer. The God of Mischief is back, along with pretty much everybody from the first season and some new characters as well. And keep in mind that this show is going to directly set up Avengers Secret Wars, our next Avengers Endgame level event, where we are essentially going to see the multiverse collapse and incursions occur. If you're not familiar with what an incursion is, it was explained by Reed Richards in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness to be when two universes basically lose the line of reality between the two of them, and the two universes then collide into each other, destroying one or both. That is essentially what is going to happen in Secret Wars, and Loki Season 2 is really going to kick this off. It was really kicked off with Loki Season 1. If you recall, at the end of Loki Season 1, Loki and Sylvie finally reached the true creator of the TVA, He Who Remains, who is a variant of Nathaniel Richards, aka Kang the Conqueror. We see Victor Timely in this trailer, who is also a variant of Kang the Conqueror. But make no mistake, Victor Timely is not a past version of Kang the Conqueror who has not become Kang yet. If it's anything like the comics, then this character is already Kang the Conqueror. But don't worry, we'll break down everything you need to know about this trailer in this video. But big reminder, today is the last day of our giveaway. If you want to enter for a chance to win an Xbox Series X, a PS5, some Marvel Legends items, or some DC items, the winner gets to pick one item, and we pick a winner at the end of each month. Today, for this month, all you have to do to enter is subscribe and leave a comment down below. Now, we actually have a good idea of what the actual plot for the show is, both what is being shown to us in this trailer and what we are going to see in Season 2. So at the end of Loki Season 1, Sylvie and Loki, well, really Sylvie, killed Kang the Conqueror, or He Who Remains, the creator of the TVA. Loki then returns to the TVA and sees Agent Mobius, who he had become really good friends with at that point and had been through a lot with. He goes to him absolutely terrified, but Mobius has no idea who he is, implying that Loki had returned to some sort of a different TVA. The camera then pans out, and Loki sees a statue of He Who Remains / Kang the Conqueror, and as it turns out, there's actually a pretty decent explanation for this. However, time is going to get kind of messy in Loki Season 2. As you can see, Loki is time glitching. More on that in just a bit. But the TVA that Loki arrives at is still the same TVA that he was at before. However, it is back in the past. Loki has traveled to the past, which should not be possible since time does not technically exist in the TVA. It exists outside of space and time, and that is why in this first scene, Ke Huy Quan's character, who we just meet, OB, says it's impossible to time slip in the TVA. However, as we can clearly see, Loki is doing it. And this is very confusing for both OB and Mobius. Now, clearly at this point in time, Loki has either convinced Mobius that he knows him, that he has interacted with him in the past, and they have stopped a pretty big villain, or the fact that he is time slipping has convinced Mobius that Loki does truly know something that's going on, and there is a huge threat coming, and that threat is Kang the Conqueror. Now, from what we know, Ke Huy Quan's character OB is a big TVA legend. In fact, if what we've heard about this series is true, he is responsible for creating a lot of the technology behind the TVA. Yes, Kang the Conqueror mastered time travel and has many devices of his own, but OB is apparently working for He Who Remains in this and is responsible for creating things like the temp pad. That is why we see him at the repair station here. He created it, so he knows how to repair it. But we know a little bit more about this particular TVA, and one scene in particular shows us that what we've heard is true. One thing that we've heard is that Loki is going to return to a TVA in which He Who Remains does rule over the TVA. He does run it, and he runs it very openly. People know that he is He Who Remains. There are no timekeepers at this point, not to mention the timekeepers are fake, but he has not put on that charade yet. That is why Loki sees the statue of He Who Remains / Kang the Conqueror at the end of Loki season 1. He has gone back in time to a past TVA where He Who Remains openly runs the TVA. However, what we've heard is that eventually He Who Remains does erase everyone's memory and creates the illusion of the timekeepers. And that is shown in one particular scene where Loki takes a prune stick to a wall that shows the timekeepers on it, and it disintegrates and shows a picture of Kang, some statues of Kang. And as you can see on the left side, it's Mobius sitting in a chair. His hand goes out, originally going, "What are you doing?" But then he sees that behind this mural of the timekeepers is actually pictures of He Who Remains / Kang the Conqueror. We can also see a decapitated robot head on the ground in this scene, and we can just assume that this is a timekeeper, and Loki killed the timekeeper to show Mobius, hey, it's not real, the timekeepers aren't real, it's a robot. Some madman named He Who Remains is behind all of this, and this might be the key convincing factor for Mobius here. However, I do believe that since Loki is time glitching, time slipping, this could be another point in time in the TVA, since when he originally arrives at the end of Loki season 1, it's clear they know about He Who Remains, and in this scene, they don't know about He Who Remains. So this is after He Who Remains would have erased their memories and created the timekeepers at this point. Now, here's a very important scene. Obviously, in the beginning, we learned that Loki is being pulled through different points in time, the past, the present, the future. And at 40 seconds into this trailer, we can see him time slip. And in the back, we can see it says Piranha Power Sports. And what do we see? Jet skis. If you remember from Loki season 1, Mobius loves jet skis. Although he said that he's never been on one before because he believed that he was created by the TVA and wasn't an actual variant of an actual person. However, it looks like he probably has been on one before because it looks like we can see Owen Wilson's Mobius in the background here. If you freeze frame at 40 seconds, you can see 3 people. One of them is a blonde who looks a lot like Mobius, and I believe he probably either 1 works for Piranha Power Sports and is trying to sell a jet ski, or 2 is trying to buy a jet ski with another woman who could possibly be his wife that he had before. Hopefully we find out that Mobius has indeed gotten a chance to ride a jet ski at some point in time in his normal earthly human life, not his TVA life where he thought he was simply created by the timekeepers to specifically be a TVA agent. So fingers crossed we see Mobius ride a jet ski in Loki season 2. Now, essentially what we see here is most of the returning cast. We see Hunter B-15, we see Ravonna Renslayer, we see Eugene Cordero's character, Casey, who we were introduced to in Loki season 1, and it looks like we are seeing a combination of perhaps their earthly lives before the TVA, and also them helping Loki and Mobius in trying to essentially find He Who Remains, but also at the same time, they have to repair the timeline. And this is extremely important to them for 2 reasons. 1, they have to stop He Who Remains / Kang the Conqueror, and 2, incursions. They need to prevent incursions from happening. It all basically has to do with stopping the multiversal war. So Loki ends up hunting down Sylvie so the 2 of them can reunite and stop He Who Remains and basically stop a multiversal war. We find Sylvie, who was working at a McDonald's, and if you recall from Loki season 1, she did not want to rule the TVA. That's why she killed He Who Remains. And we can still see that she keeps the same mentality because she says, no matter what we do, we're playing gods. In which Loki replies very cleverly, we are gods, because keep in mind, don't forget, Sylvie is a variant of Loki. She is Loki. But that is her response to Loki saying that we have to save this place. We have to save the TVA, because I think Loki is now on board with the fact that the TVA is actually a good thing ruled by a bad person. But the TVA does keep away the variants of Kang, and in doing so prevents other Kangs from going to other universes and essentially destroying the multiverse. It prevents multiversal war, and a part of that is keeping and maintaining the sacred timeline. And what's really crazy is we actually see Mobius get in a spacesuit that has a crack in it that's fixed by duct tape, seemingly walk out on a bridge to the sacred timeline. It looks like he's walking to a part where time could currently be in the process of being written. As we've learned from the first one, it seemed to be that He Who Remains was writing the history of everything. Or this simply could be a repair point. I believe Mobius is going to be going out to the sacred timeline to try and fix what is happening to Loki, or he could simply go out there to just inspect what exactly is going on at that point. But we do know that they return to the Citadel, the headquarters of He Who Remains. They show us that scene, and it looks to be pretty broken and run down, which makes sense. Loki and Sylvie did kill him, and depending on when they go to this, at what point in time, it could have been empty for some time now. So this really could be a point to where the future has not been written yet. We can see a bunch of different flows of time flowing into some sort of a cylinder that goes into the sacred timeline. So it looks like Loki somehow gets Mobius and Ke Huy Quan's character OB to go to the Void, to go to the Citadel and physically inspect the sacred timeline. And that's why Sylvie says no matter what we do, we're playing God, because eventually somebody is going to have to write the future. And Sylvie doesn't want that. Neither does Loki, really, because he mentioned in the first one that free will doesn't exist if the TVA is true. And that tore Loki apart. And since Loki and Sylvie are both Lokis, we can imagine it tears her apart as well. But they're faced with a conflict. Either they don't write the future, the TVA doesn't exist, and a multiversal war could happen, or they are the ones who write the future, and they are essentially becoming bigger gods than they actually are. Now, there are a couple of really cool scenes where we are introduced to Rafael Casal's character. Now, they don't actually tell us his name, but from what we know, he is a former TVA agent, X5, trying to use temporal chaos to become a movie star of the 1970s in Hollywood, which is what we see in these scenes here. This is also why we see Loki pursue him, and we see a new Loki ability that we've never seen before. Loki casting shadows, and the shadows being able to physically grab people, which we see in this scene here. So this is a rogue TVA agent, so it seems like Loki's going to want to hunt him down and get some type of information from him, or simply just try to stop him, because no doubt he has created his own timeline. But at the heart of it all is Victor Timely. And I'm really glad that Marvel Studios actually showed him. They showed Jonathan Majors, and this is a good sign that they're going to keep him. Now, of course, this isn't confirmed. Jonathan Majors has another court date in August, and if he is proven innocent, then they will most likely keep him. But if not, unfortunately, they might recast him. If you want more information on that, you can check out the video I did on it yesterday. But we hear Loki say, "How do you choose?" And he is referring to how do you choose who lives and who dies, and him playing God and possibly taking over the TVA. That cuts to Victor Timely saying, "Make the hard choice." Now, you really have to understand who Victor Timely is to really understand what is happening in Loki Season 2. Victor Timely is not a past version of Kang who has not become He Who Remains yet, but in the comics, he is actually Kang Prime, the Kang, not one of the many different variants of Kang that are out there, but in fact the original Kang the Conqueror who discovers time travel. He Who Remains / Kang the Conqueror / any other variant name that he has is really Nathaniel Richards, born in the year 3000. And he discovers a time machine there in which he travels back to ancient Egypt, where he becomes the pharaoh Ramatut. And he rules over everything until the Fantastic Four show up and they defeat him. He ends up getting thrown through a time storm, going through different points in time, in which he is then rescued by Dr. Doom. He thinks that Dr. Doom could actually be a past version of himself. So Dr. Doom helps him, and then eventually Kang just goes through different time points and different universes and conquers all of them. He conquers many different worlds, and he becomes pretty much the strongest being in the universe. Eventually, he conquered everything within 100 light years of Earth, until he decided to attack his ancestors' native world of modern age Marvels. But the Avengers actually force him to flee. He then seeks a new power base, and he travels back to 1901 AD and establishes a new identity as Victor Timely. But keep in mind, this is Kang Prime. So he goes back and he becomes a brilliant inventor and industrialist. He founds the city of Timely, Wisconsin, becoming the first mayor, and he essentially builds a really big empire because, of course, he has access to all of his future technology. So that is what we are seeing in this trailer. We are seeing Kang Prime as Victor Timely, presenting technology that he invented quite some time ago. And we see him go to the World's Columbian Exposition, which was set in 1893 in Chicago. This was set to celebrate the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's arrival in the Americas, and the fair showcased the technological progress and achievements of the United States and the world back then. And one of these attractions is the original Ferris wheel, which we can see in this trailer. So from here, Loki and Mobius manage to track down Victor Timely, and we can obviously see here that he is putting on quite a show as we see a very, very large miss minutes, seemingly causing physical damage, but definitely scaring everybody and causing them to run. This could be the start of Kang trying to essentially take over the world. And it looks like Mobius and Loki might have realized that there is indeed one Kang that they could stop. Rather than stopping many different variants, they could locate a Kang Prime and try to stop him then. And it does look like they have managed to track him down. So Loki season 2 is going to be about stopping Kang Prime from creating essentially a multiversal war. We even see a very particular scene in this trailer at the 155 time mark where Loki says war is on its way, and he points to a mural of many different variants of Kang wearing their comic accurate costumes, might I add. So that is what it's all about, preventing multiversal war. And there is going to be a conflict with Loki and himself and with Sylvie as well, of maintaining the TVA to prevent multiversal war, but at the same time, essentially writing the future and taking away everyone's agency and killing all the timelines that show up, or risking that multiversal war and the destruction of the entire universe. So that is what Loki season 2 is about. It is a huge, very important show related to the entirety of the future of the MCU and will tie directly into Avengers Secret Wars. So let us know what you thought about this trailer. Did you like it? Did you not like it? And do you have any theories? Let us know in the comments down below.
Another great video from Cosmic, man. I cannot wait for this show. This is going to be top tier Marvel. Maybe Marvel's back. I don't know. We'll see. But don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment or two. You already know what to do. Go Nation. I'm out.